Hello, this is Yoav Gutman for MBA631 HR Management. Today, I will be making some recommendations on improving the sales development representative recruitment strategy for PhotoShelter for brands. This is one position that PhotoShelter constantly struggles to fill. It's a pretty entry-level junior sales position. The primary focus of this position is to source, nurture, and schedule prospects for meetings with more senior salespeople to ultimately close new business. The average tenure for this position is just around 18 months. And even with an average team size between 6 to 9 people, this means that there's almost always a need for improvement around sourcing and recruitment and ultimately fulfillment of this role. First thing I want to focus on is ultimately we're going to look at the job design, but I want to walk you through one aspect of the sourcing and recruiting, which is where to actually find the job organically through the company website. So if you go to the home page, there's a careers tab, and that will take you to another page which has this view openings button, and that takes you to the workable site, which is the job listing management site. You can see there the sales development representative. And now we're going to dive into what is currently part of the job listing strategy at PhotoShelter for Brands. And you can see here a little description of the company and the role. And then breaks down here to some of the tasks as well as the requirements and some of the benefits of the company, and then a link to how to apply to the job. I've made some changes and some recommendations for how to improve the job description. We'll take a look at that in a second, but some of the things I wanted to highlight was the breakdown of job duty importance and time spent. I've also removed the NYC locality. I'll explain this in a little bit. And I've added some technical capabilities to attract more diverse personality types. I've removed that or reduced that intro and removed what I'm calling fluff about beers and snacks and things that don't really attract job seekers. So you can see here the reduced intro, and then what I break down into 3 different job duties and the importance and the time spent. The first one with new sales and account development. And then I break each section down by tasks and knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics. And it's in these areas specifically, that you can see some of the technical capabilities that I'm highlighting for this job. One of the biggest challenges for this role is diversity, both from a minority candidate perspective and also a personality perspective. We know that extroverts tend to do well in sales, but because this is software sales, there is a technical component. We want to attract more introverted people or for that matter, attract introverted applicants and just widen our candidate pool. Additionally, I've also recommending to move the New York City location component from the job description, because this will give us an opportunity to leverage some of the capabilities built into the workable site we saw earlier. Specifically, that site links up to something called Handshake. And what that does is plug into a bunch of university job listing portals. And primarily those are going to be the ones based around New York City, because the position is based out of New York City. But the reason I'm removing it is because I think it's important that we add other urban universities to attract a more diverse job seeker population, as well as get on the job career listing sites of historically Black colleges and universities to improve our sourcing. Additionally, some of the other sourcing strategies are word of mouth. There is a $1,000 bonus for employees who refer someone who stays 90 days. Ultimately, I actually am going to recommend that the company does away with this because it might help in terms of putting quote butts in seats, so to speak, but it's ultimately hurting the diversity goals of the organization. Mostly people are recommending people that look and think like them, and the savings are probably hurting us down the line in terms of the lack of diversity, and ultimately the type of applicant we recruit because of that. Instead, I would recommend that the bonus kind of is saved for a more technical position like a software engineer that is a little bit harder to recruit because of the specific skill set. We also occasionally use a third-party recruiter. It's the most expensive way we do it. And when things are dire, the company needs to do it just to fill the pipeline, so to speak. In terms of training and development, one of the ways that the company currently trains people is kind of an informal and a formal pathways. Informal starts the day you get there, meeting with people, having conversations, shadowing people both on the sales development team and also in other departments. Formal sales training also happens occasionally with sales consultants, and more regularly with product training and kind of those discussions around product training and how to sell them. One of the best ways that the company has helped salespeople become better salespeople, frankly, is through social selling, through social media, thought leadership development on LinkedIn. This is definitely something that I would encourage the company to continue, but also push them even further to challenge their sales development representatives to find their own trainings. That could be through the LinkedIn Learning community or elsewhere, and the company sponsor it. And the second part of that, once they return from the training, to put together a presentation based on the takeaways. This has the dual effect of reinforcing it to the person who went to the training, but also sharing some of that knowledge with the rest of the team. In terms of performance management, what the company currently does is the SDR manager has this dashboard that you're getting a glimpse of here. The team is mostly ranked or tracked against meetings booked, meetings that are completed, and opportunities that are created from their work. And this is a dashboard that anyone on the team can look at any point. Ultimately, there's also for SDRs that are not performing, there's a performance improvement plan. However, and we'll come back to that in a second, but what that usually signals is that either the SDR needs to start looking for other work, or eventually they'll be terminated. It rarely, however, results in actual performance improvement. In terms of the recommendation for performance management, what I think that one of the aspects that the company needs to do is basically create a dashboard for each individual sales development rep that also has their daily goals and their monthly and quarterly forecasts, so that they know that all of their work, even on a daily basis, has impact on their monthly and quarterly goals. The second recommendation I would make is about that performance improvement plan. Like I said, it rarely actually results in performance improvement, and is more of a way of signaling to the employee that either they need to improve or they need to look for another job. And if they don't, they will be let go. So I think this whole performance improvement plan needs to be rethought. Either poor performers need to be removed faster, or whatever is a part of the performance improvement plan, like the retraining and kind of reallocation of goals, needs to just occur, potentially not, under this title of performance improvement plan, because that is actually sending the wrong message to the employee, most likely because they know that it's, kind of a 1 foot out the door moment for them. Finally, I want to talk about the wages and compensation for this position. The starting salary is $45,000 a year with an uncapped potential commission. However, even the best performers usually cap out at about $20,000 a year. So we're talking about $65,000 a year in pay. If you look at the New York metropolitan area, you'll see that is just under the 50th percentile. Very simply, the recommendation is to restructure the commission plan to incentivize your best people to stay longer. If after 18 months, your best performer knows that they can go increase their compensation elsewhere because 50% of the companies are going to pay them more right off the bat, then that's going to hurt retention. That might be one of the leading causes. However, if the commission plan is restructured, probably coming off the company margin rather than the other salesperson commission, that might actually end up saving the company money in terms of the replacement costs of the sales development rep position.